You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
From kitchen chaos to well-oiled machines, get ready for newfangled technology and old-school know-how. Stories and a good bit of fun. I'm Simon, and this is Culinary Mechanic. Joining me today is Chef Franck.
Hey,
Chef,
Simon.
welcome to Culinary Mechanic. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me, Chef Simon. Appreciate that. Excited for this episode.
I, as I was saying, and as we were getting warmed up here, I just love it when I meet other chefs who are doing different stuff. I hate to use such a technical term, but it is, right? It's like we're out there in the world helping other people. Um, you know, we're gonna get to talk about this shortly, but you got a book coming out today. That all by itself is super, super special. So, um, as has become norm on Culinary Mechanic, I'm just gonna say let's press on the gas and ask, how'd you get into this industry? Like, how did it all begin?
Uh, I mean, it started very, very young. I grew up in France, and both my parents were amazing cooks, different way, but amazing cooks. And my curiosity, I think, just kind of got me to be just following somewhat of breadcrumbs that got me into the kitchen. And I started very young. It was just shy of 15 years old and ended up in apprentice and apprenticeship. And then I just kind of followed this thing that got me into learning skills, soft skills, hard skills, culinary skills. And then that just, when you're good at something and people make you feel good, there's no point going and looking for something else. You just keep doing it. And here you are, you're looking backwards, and it's been 10 years in the industry, and you like to think that you're someone, and then you add another 10 years to that, and then you just made a career out of it. So I think yeah, I got to it really by France has a lot of food and beverage in the culture, and there's a lot of history. So it was hard for me to not be attracted by just becoming a chef, because there's so much to offer in this country.
Oh, I love it. Um, you hit on something that like it's deep culturally, and I think um it's what I want for the United States. It's what I want for America, right? Like that we have something that is deep, that isn't just we're just the USA. I know that as being somebody who's been in the kitchen pretty much my whole life as well. Um, France is always the North Star in a lot of the kitchens I worked, and it's interesting to talk. I've actually one of my mentors uh, was from Normandy, and he just would talk all the time about the things that they would do, like just the way things were done. So I truly appreciate that. Um, you know, how would you say like you spent your career in it, now you're getting to go out and you're doing some consulting and you're writing a book. How has that all like tell me how that became a through line for you?
I don't know if it was a through line, but there's definitely been. I think I focused a lot of the beginning of my career to just be a good cook. Then I got into the management and decided to be a good chef. And then over time I was deep into pastry that I was into culinary. I was a
Mm.
pastry chef. I was an exec chef. And then eventually I became a director of food and beverage for luxury resorts. And what got me into finding out that I had I don't know, it maybe would describe as a philosophy, kind of the way I approach leadership and the way I approach culture. And I just was, I don't really like to put it out there, like kind of leading by example. I think it's overused. I just think that I was just enjoying what I was doing. There never been really days that I felt like I was working for no reason.
Right.
So I really felt like I was compelled to do it right because there was the right way of doing it. And and so during the COVID years, when I the whole world of hospitality was on standby. I am someone that by nature doesn't know how to stay on standby. I don't know what that means. I'm someone that needs to keep moving, and so there was nothing better for me that certifying myself to be a coach, speaker, and trainer, and that opened my voice, and that found me a messaging that I was able to translate into hospitality. And very quickly, the people that was working alongside me responding to my leadership made me realize that maybe I actually have somewhat of a secret sauce. Maybe I have a recipe that some people can relate to, and I just wanted to share it with the future leaders of hospitality, the student of hospitality, the one that does not necessarily today receiving the right and proper leadership guidance. I
Mm.
think everyone has blamed the previous generation, thinking that they were just the best generation ever, and then complaining about the current generation. And I think this is the wrong outlook. I think every generation has something different to offer, and we need to
Hmm.
embrace each generation for what they bring on the table. But I think there is a commonality when it comes to leadership culture, and I think that's kind of me trying to do my part with the wisdom and knowledge that I've received over 25 years of hospitality, bringing on the table something that served me right. And I'm trying through my book to really provide a blueprint, but not necessarily a recipe that fits all.
Okay. Okay. I love that. I call it a framework, right? A
Yeah,
framework, a blueprint.
framework is a
Great.
great word for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I mean, let's distill it down. So, like, what is the core message that you want to get out to chefs and operators and anybody, really anybody reading that book? Like, what do
I,
you want them to walk away with?
I think I want them to walk away with a better understanding of who they are. It
Okay.
really comes down to that. The book is Relentless Growth is really about your mindset. It's about you against you versus you with you. It's all about you. And this is a lot of work you have to do within yourself, but finding out that some part of the process that you will inevitably going through it's actually part of the process. Don't shy away from it. Don't try to dismiss it. Don't try to ignore it. It is what you meant and designed to go through, and understanding kind of what toolbox and what skills you need to learn in order to go through. So I really want people to get out of this book understanding themselves a little bit more, understanding that they might be in the wrong environment. They might be in the wrong path and someone that you see a lot of people these days that are they're doing their career their 9 to 5 job that they don't necessarily like as much and then they're extremely passionate about something that they're doing outside of work and I'm kind of trying to show them and say why don't you flip it? Why don't you
Yeah.
just follow your passion, make money out of this? And I know there's a lot of risk taking when you want to make money out of your passion. Can my passion even make money out of? I mean, we're living in 2025 and anyone can make money out of anything. I mean, we got Facebook Marketplace and people can live out of Facebook Marketplace. So it's just to show you, it's just to show you how much if you really kind of put some thought into it, then you might actually have something that you would be passionate that makes you wake up in the morning and feel like you're not working a day of your life. It's really, really that I'm trying to preach out of this book. It's about your mindset and what you decide to do out of it, and creating the framework in your head to know that obstacles, adversities, failures, and resilience, all those things are actually part of the process. It is meant to be that way. Too many people shy away from complication, difficulties, adversities, setbacks, that makes them kind of just not wanted to take any risk. And sometimes I think the risk is very worth it in order for you to get on the other side of that fence. So that's what I strongly believe.
That's awesome. You hit two things for me that really like, I don't know, that those little hairs on the back of your neck, mine are standing up right now. But it's how cliche is this, right? People talk about it's the journey, not the destination.
Of
And I
course.
think what I really got from what you just said was not only is it the journey, it is the journey, but it's like embracing all the little things that are in there, right? I when I start to think about work and I start to think about loving your work, I remember Thomas Keller 20 something years ago. He said you have to fall in love with the act of peeling a carrot, right? And for me, I think that's I love carrots to begin with, but I've always tried to take that to whatever I do and whatever I'm doing, and when I'm teaching, when I'm working with my clients and the chefs that I'm able to be a part of their world. I'm like, it doesn't have to be a carrot. It has to be falling in love with the simple acts that you do every day. Because if you
Absolutely.
if you
I
have
could
the
not
if you
agree more
have
with that.
that everyday thing and you're really good at it, it
Hmm.
builds, right? And then the second thing that really, like I said, just kind of makes the hairs on the back of my head stand up is the idea of like getting excited about what you love, right? I was talking to a friend recently, and she is a fellow consultant. Um, and we were talking about the work that she does, and she's also in hospitality, so we're very close as far as the work we do. She says, I was doing a manager and training manual last night, and she says I couldn't stop. It was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and I said, "Do you do those a lot?" And she says, "No, but man, I couldn't. I was so energized in creating that because I knew that it was going to affect people." And I said, "I just want to throw this idea out." And she says, "What do you got?" I said, "Well, do more of that. Like if you if there is a piece of your work that brings the passion that creates that visceral feeling in your life, do more of that. Find a way, right?
Hmm.
Like if you're meant to do manager and training manuals or training manuals, like if that's your thing, there's plenty of niche in the world to be able to hone that. So I just wanted to share that because
No,
it's one of those things. It just grabs me when people go, "Oh, I love doing this." I'm like, "Fuck, how do you do more of that?" Let's pause for a second. If you're serious about building a kitchen that leads from the top, runs on systems, and actually feels good to work in, make sure you're following Culinary Mechanic. This show is all about helping you lead better, scale smarter, and stop white knuckling your business. And if you're ready to dig in deeper, you'll find a link in the show notes to connect with me directly. Because
it is it is I guess there's a part of luck when you are lucky to know what you meant to be doing. Some people keep looking, and some people can go, they're going to stay at school as long as possible because they still don't know how to figure out what they're going to do for their career. There's a lot of people out there like this. And I think there is a part of, like I say, we're living in a world now that you can pretty much monetize anything. And,
right,
and, and you really need to not being afraid to be taking the unpopular route. You not to be afraid to just maybe we oftentimes being influenced by our surrounding and our closed ones that apparently knows better what's best for you. And sometimes you just have to kind of silence a little bit of the noise, taking in consideration, taking a feedback, but at the same time, your opinion doesn't need to be completely silenced. Your opinion and your choices needs to have as much value as everybody else. And then you're just still following your passion based on that. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, then try things. Try sports, try hobbies until you find someone. Try baking. Uh, do something that gives you some joy, and then based on that, just trying to find a way. I have a friend that came recently, and she's been working with me for quite some time, and She worked in hospitality, but she went into F&B, then she went to the spa, then she went to front desk, then she went concierge, and then she never really found that spark or that aha moment when she felt this is for me. She does this, it's the novelty that kept her doing this for probably about a few months, but then the novelty kind of phased out, and suddenly she see all the things that she doesn't like about it. And so the most recent conversation I had with her was, what is it that gives you joy? And she said, I like writing. And I said, okay. And I know she wrote a book. She's into fantasy and like fictional book. And so I said, well, why don't you do more of this? And she said, go in the world of books. I say, you have websites such as Ridzi when you can go and start editing books. So you can start being an editor and start getting into that world of editing. So maybe it will spark something, but at least you're in the world of writing. And you just kind of try
Mm.
to follow this curiosity, to try to find avenues that are out of norm in order for you to find something that, I don't know, help you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that, um, well, I can't speak for the whole world, right? I can speak for my experiences and what I've seen in here in the States, but there's so much programming that is being washed away slowly and eroding around just taking, like, for example, my father worked in the same job for 37 years, and I would say the last 15, he was miserable, right? Like a career academic. He was at university, and he was a technical specialist, and he taught people how to do research better than probably anybody else could hope to. But by the end, he didn't enjoy it. He really just wanted to retire and work with wood, right? Um, but I think that there's so much of that, and like I say, it's eroding. It's eroding. People are understanding that having multiple passions throughout your life is an okay thing. Having multiple careers is a thing. But I think that finding being able to say, oh, I just have to find a job, and for me that conversation can go down to, do you want to go out and find the job for you, or do you want to find what's available, right? And I think that obviously just dovetails out into a million little things, right? But
Absolutely.
I think getting the opportunity to, or making, how about this? Making the opportunity to find what really gets you out of bed in the morning
Hmm.
there's just nothing better. Um, I've talked to chefs and cooks for years and years about, like, be clear about what it is you want to do, not just today, but like, where do you want that career to go? I was reading something on LinkedIn about 4 days ago where this chef who's probably in his 60s, almost 70s, is still working. And he's like, if I have any advice, it's when you're 35 and 40, think about 20 years from now. Think about what you want to be doing, because if you're not, you might end up doing something that you don't want to be doing. And
Of
so,
course. I,
you
I,
know,
I used to ask that question a lot to some of my cooks or even my young sous chef that just entered the world of management and leadership. And some of the first one-on-one was I know you've years away from it, but what kind of executive chef do you want to be? Like, and you got to think now because whatever you're going to be practicing now for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years will become in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So you've got to be able to continue to figure it out, what kind of executive chef you want to be, and start showing up that way. Tomorrow, your journey of leadership starting, you want to be that kind of exec chef, so start showing up that way, and then
right,
just practice and create those habits of how you want to be perceived, how you want to be known, what kind of leader you want to be that people wants to follow. Just make those connections and realize that having that roadmap to get you to where you be, in no time you'll realize that you're exactly the exec chef you thought of becoming because you actually believed it 8 years in the past 8 years daily as you were choosing to make that path. So you've
right.
got that, to your point, you've got to create your opportunities. You got to make your opportunities sometimes. So yeah, they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you brought up one of my favorite topics, and that is sous chefs. So, what do you, in your opinion, like, what are the things that chefs get wrong when they're training that next generation of leader? Like, what are the chefs missing out there?
Um, I would think that I would think that chefs usually miss the um, mentoring, coaching, the almost teaching the skills of becoming a good leader.
Mm,
Is just not necessarily. I mean, we're going to teach you how to cook, and usually, if you're becoming a sous chef, it means you've already proven you know how to cook
right.
in our kitchen. But now it's like, let me show you how to lead. Let me show you during chaos how to bring back the entire team without feeling you need to jump over the past and take it over. Like, how do
Mm,
you actually make an entire team following your lead? That's probably what most chefs are sometimes forgetting and I think sometimes some of the chefs don't even know how to do that themselves.
mm,
It's very important that the skills you're learning, the empathy, the understanding, the feedback. How do you provide feedback? How do you receive feedback? And especially in the world of the kitchen, when it's very cutthroat in our approach to things, we're very much into this is wrong, this is broken, this is not right. We're very much like this and fix it. And then, okay, well, how do I fix it? Figure it out. So there's a
mm.
lot of those things, and it's like, well, let me show you how to figure it out. Let me show you how to fix this. I'm gonna show you once, you're gonna do it again. I'm gonna check that you understood, and then we can get it from there. And having the patience to really show the right way of leading will pay you will have a tenure in this kitchen that you will be able to not necessarily be needed. You're trying almost to create an environment when you become obsolete. If the chef
Mm.
become obsolete, it means you created the right kitchen and the right team. I was just talking about it today. Here, it's just you've got to make yourself irrelevant. You've got to create a team that makes yourself irrelevant. And it's scary because if you're irrelevant, then why do I need you? But you're always going to be needed because now you transform your relevancy into a vision. You transform your relevancy into this is where we're going. This is what I want to do. But at the same time, you're getting the following from this team that feels like now they can operate without minimum guidance.
Yeah. It's funny. I talk about kitchens that run that where the chef becomes a value add, right? And so you actually just made me scribble something down because I was like, oh, and what I wrote down was value add equals vision,
Mhm.
right? And I think that so often when I'm trying to teach a chef who says, "Oh, I'm the best butcher. I need to butcher." I'm like, no, man, you need to be the best teacher so that you can teach them to do the butchering almost as well as you. You know, I think that also brings up something that one of my mentors, he used to he had this way of conveying ideas, and he was one of the first chefs that ever like started to teach me the why of things. You know,
Mhm.
he says, but Simon, I want you to go into the kitchen, and when you're teaching that new dish, teach them all the ways that it can, pardon my language, but teach them all the ways that can get fucked up. Teach them how it goes sideways or how it doesn't come out looking or feeling or tasting the way you want it to. Teach them how it screws up. And the why, and this is why we do these things. So no, I think yeah, value add equals vision. I think that's going to be a topic for me for a couple days here at least.
For sure.
So,
No, it is exactly right. It's understanding why you're doing what they do. It just needs to transform. I think it's a missing ingredients in today's leadership lessons. It's just we're just so conditioned to just say you do this, yes, chef, move on. And
right.
it's like people now are asking, why the hell am I peeling carrots for? I have no idea. I'm just peeling carrots. And you're gonna peel carrots in through emotion. There's nothing sexy and nothing exciting about peeling a carrot. But if you explain them, and I'm not saying that if I'm explaining you that you're gonna peel the carrot and you're gonna put in the best stock that is I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the why aspect of this, the
Hmm.
concept of why. I need you to peel these carrots this certain way, and then you go into these onions, and we need to make sure we're putting them on the grill in order to char them because the char is going to bring you a taste into your stock that you can only get through doing this. And then while you're doing your stock, you say, hey, come here a second, come taste while we're doing the stock on the first step, on the second step. And when it's been boiling and simmering for 4 hours, now you taste the final product and you understood every aspect of it. Now you can be sure by taking this time and energy to show someone and explaining the why. The next time you say, hey, I need you to do the stock today because we're running out of it, you know that now they're going to take this onion and they're going to be very particular about the way they are going to char the onions. They're going to be very particular about the way they peel the carrots because they understand why they're doing it because they've tasted the difference. And so you gotta it's almost like you gotta foster and cultivate the passion that they don't even know they have yet. You're the one who is
Hmm.
in charge of that. You have a responsibility and almost a moral duty to teach them how to be passionate about the craft.
Right. Yeah. And I think to kind of layer on, the that fostering that culture, fostering that passion, right? Um, I look every day for how I can help the leaders that I'm working with to foster the passion for the leadership, right? It doubles back on itself because like it's that idea that that leadership is a force multiplier, right?
Hmm.
Like when I have people who understand how we're going, if I teach you and I teach you how I want you to teach the next person, now we start to move in the same direction and really
Absolutely.
again multiply the force. But it's so funny to me, like what you just described about peeling carrots and making the stock is so much of what gets missed for me in a lot of kitchens is they don't explain something from a very guttural emotional space of how to do it right, so that when we're going when we then move on to teaching how to be a leader, it's even harder because they don't have that guttural instinctual passion of how to teach,
Hmm. Yeah, no,
right.
it takes a certain skills to be able to teach, mentor, and coach, and not everyone has it. And I invite everyone that it's not because you're already your own chef that you necessarily have all the recipes to success. You
Mm,
got to be able sometime to look at yourself and making a self-assessment and looking is like, okay, I still have some stuff to learn from that side of things.
mhm,
Therefore, I'm going to start doing this because I can tell you if you have a retention issue, it has nothing to do with the quality of people or the environment. It has to do with leadership. 9 times out of 10, it has to do with the leadership. That's why there is a retention issue.
mhm, mhm. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. You just made my heart swell. Uh, because I feel like I say this all the time, and sometimes people look at me and go, "No, no, you're wrong. It's the kids." I'm like, no, man. Like, it's just how you're addressing them. It's how you're engaging them. It's
Hmm.
how they're being made to feel on a daily basis. Because I promise you, there are plenty of there are plenty of places of employment. It doesn't even have to be a kitchen, but there are plenty of places where young people of multiple generations are coexisting and thriving, and there are multiple kitchens, thousands of kitchens out there, whether they be in hotels or little tiny mom and pops or a wine country resort, where there are great cultures that are passionate and they are engaged, and very few people leave, right? And
Hmm.
it's how they're being led. So, once again, thank you. I love hearing somebody else who just echoes, and it's very validating to me. I'm like, see, I'm not the only one.
There's plenty out there. We just need to We just need it's hard in being in this position because the environment and the world we're living in make us second guessing that thought. And it makes us almost like looking at it is like, am I thinking right? Because now it's like out of 10 chefs, I'm the only one thinking that way. And you know, the peer pressure of feeling like, and now I got to a point after writing my book and after doing podcast and talking to similar chefs, I realized that I'm not by myself into this. And but for so long, the corporation that I work for and some of the big name brand that I work for, I'm not going to cast the blame on them, but I felt like I was an anomaly. I felt like I
Mm,
was thinking too different and feeling outcast. Or it's like I don't know. It's just it's refreshing to hear people out there that are trying to make some noise in order to preach something they believe in. And I can only relate to your way of thinking, and I appreciate for you to have me on this episode because if you think that way, we just need more of that. We just need more of that
yeah.
because I believe wholeheartedly that I am not an anomaly anymore. I am not outcasted. You're not gonna silence me, and now I'm gonna say what I have to say, knowing that it does resonate with a lot more people than I thought it would.
Yeah. Awesome. I I was telling somebody not too long ago the words that I know when I'm doing something right when I hear these words. Nobody's ever said that to me before. That's when
Mm.
I know I'm starting to like chip away at the conventions that are, and um, moving towards something that could be definitely be a moment of reckoning for the restaurant and hospitality industry. I think that when we start to break down some of the older, we'll just call them tyrannical processes, right? When you start to
Hmm.
break down that image of a chef and that image of the industry, and you start to remake it, things get it gets scary because I feel like we start to take away so many of the sides of the building. And is it going to shake? Yes, it's going to shake. And is it going to be weird? Yes, it's going to be weird. But I think on the other side of that is an industry that where people can make great food, create great experiences, but also have a life that doesn't hurt, you know.
Absolutely.
Um,
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
um, so you wrote the book, you're out there consulting. Um, what do you see as the like what's on the kind of the next thing on the ladder? What do you like what are you out there thinking
I
about?
I mean anything I'm thinking about. My brain, I daydream daily.
Excellent.
I think this book has been, by the time it comes out about 12 days, it's going to be nearly 2 years I've been starting this process. It is not a fast process. It's something that I cannot wait to be out there being read. I cannot wait for people to tell me what they thought of it. I cannot wait for people, even if it's one person that tells me, Franck, it resonated with me. I'm appreciative of you taking the time to write it. So I just need this book to get into the right hands. Anyone, I wish I had this book when I was younger, knowing that that was the work that needed to be done. And I could have probably fast tracked some of my thought process in some aspect of it, or when I was an arrogant chef, or when I was just the one that did not have the skills. I wish I had that. So I think the goal of this book is really to get into the right hand and establishing me, hopefully, I guess that's my wish. It's establishing me as an authority on the field of hospitality, with a philosophy that does resonate with people. And for organization that feels they have a culture problem, then maybe I could be the person that come and help them out or partner on something. So I aspire to be doing speaking engagement. I aspire to be on a TED Talk. I aspire to be just kind of spreading the word of relentless growth to whoever wants to hear it and whoever wants to apply it. And the very, very future, there's going to be a second book. There was always a second book. And after the first one, when you worked about You worked about you, on you, versus you,
Hmm.
with you. I like to think the second book is now that you have that mindset, when you have that growth mindset and you enter a workplace, you're an exec chef and you have a team of 60 culinarian, and then nobody has that growth mindset. And now the second book will be a lot about what is it that you need to do in order to influence an entire workplace to think the way you think and to behave the way you behave. And I think it does require a blueprint. It does require a framework. It does require habits. It does require conversation. It does require feedbacks and one-on-ones, a developmental approach to things. So that in the near future it will be a second book, but first one at a time. We want to see how this one is being received. How this one helped the hospitality and hopefully the student of hospitality that are currently at school at CIA or cross hospitality program in the country that will put their hands on it and realize and it's like, man, this has been helpful to me. Therefore, I want to continue that path. And that's only what I wish right now. So I'm looking for more. I'm just looking to grow more into my role, grow more into what I represent in the world of hospitality, and hopefully making a dent into this one of the most demanding industry in the world.
Well, relentless growth, baby. I'm in. Sign me up. I cannot wait uh, to be on the sidelines of watching what is happening with you and what you bring going forward.
I appreciate that.
Chef Franck, thank you so much for coming and joining me today, playing in my little sandbox that is culinary mechanic. Really means a lot to me. Um, in the show notes, I'm going to make sure that everybody can find you, find the links to your book. I will get all of those things down and compiled in there. Um, and to all of you out there, thank you for listening. It really means a lot to me. The number of listeners seems to just grow a little bit every week, and I truly appreciate that. So, to all you out there, I'll catch you on the flip side. Chef, I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Chef Simon.
You've been listening to Culinary Mechanic. This show exists to help you lead with more clarity, build systems that actually work, and create a kitchen culture worth showing up for. If this episode helped you move even one step in that direction, do me a favor, leave a quick review. It helps more chefs and operators stop the chaos and start leading with intention.